It sounds, that's. Caleb joke. And drop it. It's just-
Good. Everybody good? We're online. Okay, we will start the Community Investment Committee meeting. We'll take roll call. We have Councilmember White,
Present.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Present.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers.
We are still working on getting her in
Okay.
the meeting.
I know we're attempting, she's out of town. And then we've got Citizen Member Grape
Here.
online and Citizen Member Kanajeski.
Present.
Okay, so we have a quorum. We'll start with first bill number 4825, amending the historic landmark designation for 528 South Eddy Street at Jefferson Intermediate School. Do we have a staff member or petitioner? Welcome.
Good evening, committee members. Ross Van Overberg, Historic Preservation Administrator with offices on the 14th floor of this building. The amendment before you is brought before you to correct what we believe was an error in the original amendment, making this a historic landmark. All of our documentation shows that the original landmark was intended to focus on the Jefferson School building. And there was no other mention of any of the other buildings or ball fields when they made the landmark in the 2000. They simply used the most convenient legal description, which happened to be the entire parcel, instead of having a more accurate legal description created at the time. So the school corporation has worked with our office to bring this petition before you to right-size that legal description to be the immediate area around the school building, and making it more accurate to what should be preserved.
Thank you. I'll just also note there is a staff report from the Historic Preservation Commission, and this comes with a favorable recommendation from Historical Preservation Commission. Committee members, any questions? Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Yes, I always like to make it clear that, I'm an employee of the South Bend Community School Corporation. And I understand that you do plan to do some renovations on school field.
That would be a question that the school representatives could answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our petitioners, welcome. We need a name and address first.
Certainly. My name is Joseph Summers, and I'm the Executive Director of Facilities Management for the South Bend Community School Corporation. My address is 737 West Beale Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46616.
James Mason, 737 South Beale Street.
Thank you.
And then Kendrick Key, also representing South Bend Community School Corporation, 737 Beale Street.
Thank you.
And to answer your question, is the South Bend is requesting the approval of the change of our area that was deemed historical for the building itself. However, we'd like to do some improvements at our other service building, which is not in part of that historical reference as the Jefferson building or the Jefferson School building.
Anything else you'd like to add about the petition?
Just that we feel like the Historic Preservation Committee did a really good job working with us and going through this property and educating us on the process. We do want to be a good partner as we move forward, and there are improvements that Jefferson property needs, and we're looking forward to executing those.
Okay, Ms. Keys, anything?
Nope, I think that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any council members with questions, either in person or online? Councilmember White?
I just have one. You probably have already made the comment that this amendment that's before us is just to ensure that the school itself will be identified as a historical building. And then you're looking at improving the surrounding buildings, but this is not part of this.
That's
That's
correct.
before us. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I would mention also that the school corporation has actually very much enjoyed working relationship with the Historic Preservation Commission. We also understand that the school corporation has a couple different historical buildings. And this has provided the school corporation with an opportunity to build upon the relationship and work together, and not just on this building, but we've got a couple of others, honestly, that will be back before you again, because it's kind of the same thing where the parcel is the description for the historic landmark. But this really has been an opportunity for us. So yes, we are looking to make improvement to if you think about like the Jefferson School building, the separate building right next to it is the facilities maintenance building. We're looking to make change windows in that building. And so this is something that we run afoul of if we went forward, because the ordinance is on the entire parcel.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak on Bill number 4825, either in person or online, either in favor or against? Anyone in person wishing to speak on 4825?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Okay, thank you. I'll bring it back to the committee. Any other comments, questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that Bill 4825 would move forward with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on a favorable recommendation for Bill 4825. We do have folks online, so we will do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers. Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Committee Vice Chair White.
Aye.
Citizen Member Kujeski.
Aye.
Citizen Member Gray.
Aye.
Chair Warner.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. The bill will go forward to 7 p.m. with a favorable recommendation. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you then. Now we will move on to Bill number 2537, a resolution to approve a Plan Commission order adopting the declaratory resolution to amend the River West Development Area and establish the Lincoln and Kennedy Park Residential Housing Development Program Expansion Area. Welcome, Mr. Molnar.
Thank you, committee members. Joseph Molnar, Assistant Director with Growth and Opportunity with offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. As Councilperson Warner just explained, so this resolution amends the overall River West Development Area, or TIF as we call it. And within that River West Development Area establishes a new separate residential TIF centered on the Lincoln and Kennedy Park neighborhoods. Just to kind of overview quickly the process so far. So whenever you amend the TIF boundaries, it's a lengthy process that goes through a number of different commissions and committees and then council as well. It started at the beginning of June when city staff met with members of the Linden Legacy Neighborhood Association that represents some of this area. City staff actually met with them one more time as well to kind of explain the process and get their feedback, which was supportive at that time. And then the RDC authorized the beginning of the process to amend the River West TIF and then held a public hearing on July 24th. On August 18th, the Plan Commission approved their declaratory resolution. We're before the council today on August 25th. If the Common Council would be in support today, it would go to the RDC on September 11th for final approval of the changes and the establishment of the residential TIF. Just very briefly, kind of an overview of what TIF is. So TIF stands for Tax Increment Finance, and it's a tool that is used to fund public improvements and investment in infrastructure and other economic development improvements, essentially by allowing the TIF to capture the increment or the future increased dollars that are generated from new development in a defined area, which we call the allocation area. The taxes on those increased values when you see new development in there are captured and then can be dedicated back into that area for eligible projects such as infrastructure improvements or development projects. So essentially, when there's new development in an established TIF area, the increased dollars go into the special pot that is then able to be used for improvements just to that specific area. However, what is unique about this that we're bringing today is typically the city has done commercial TIFs only in the past. So the River West, River East, and South Side are all commercial TIFs, so they do not capture any single family development growth of new single family construction. That does not go into the TIF. Even if a parcel is already in the River West or River East TIF as a single family, if a new house is built there, that money does not go to the commercial TIF. It goes straight to the general fund. This allows residential TIF or residential housing development program allows for the capture of that single family construction as well as when there's commercial construction as well. So it's essentially what the commercial TIF allows plus the special single family capture as well. And like I said, our normal commercial TIFs do not do that. However, this area that we're proposing here is vastly single family in nature. There's only a few commercial properties. But what can that TIF, what can that revenue that is generated off the incremental growth be used for? It can be used for a variety of things, including infrastructure projects, curbs, sidewalks, new roads, improvement to utilities, community assets such as fire stations, new fire ambulances, new park and venue spaces, a lot of programs and properties around town that you've seen. A lot of the improvements have come from TIF, and then as well as development projects. So actually investing in the development itself. So the proposed boundary of this Lincoln and Kennedy Park area is shown here. I can show a little bit why it's a bit choppy, and I'll explain in a minute, just to kind of show where everything is. So this is City Cemetery right here. Here is where the new Dream Center just opened. And here is Kennedy School, and Kennedy Park is just to the west. And then obviously you see Lincoln Way here. So essentially it's the neighborhood outlined in the red. And what this shows is all the green, both the light green, which is city owned, and the dark green, which is private, that is all vacant land. And we actually think it's a little higher than this because if one person owns their lot and then owns the 4 vacant lots next to them, but it's all considered one property tax parcel, that would be considered not vacant, even though we know it's essentially 4 vacant lots. To our best analysis, approximately 50% of this area is vacant lots, which would be the highest concentration in the city of South Bend that we have in one area. So a very large concentration of vacant residential parcels in this area. So that kind of gets to the why here. Why is the city proposing this residential development area here? And because residential TIFs are essentially only useful in areas with a high concentration of vacant lots. Typically, this program is used throughout the state for more suburban development. So they'll establish this residential TIF, say in a cornfield, and then they'll build a whole new subdivision, and then they'll be able to capture all the incremental growth to help pay for the roads that went into that subdivision. You don't see it as much in established neighborhoods because if you have occupied single-family lots, it's not as beneficial, and that is why the boundary is a little choppy. Our analysis from Baker Tilly and Barnes and Thornburg, who helped us on this, explicitly stated, try to avoid blocks where there's fully occupied houses because that actually can cause jinkerment and lower the value of the TIF. So really we were trying to find as many vacant lots as possible to help the redevelopment of that neighborhood. But also why here is not only because we have those high concentration of vacant lots, we know we have existing partnerships with Intend Indiana and South Bend Mutual Housing that make this neighborhood ideal for residential TIF. Specifically, Intend Indiana, we know is building 92 new homes in this neighborhood, and establishing this residential TIF will ensure that the tax revenue that comes from those new homes gets put right back into the neighborhood where they're being built. So as I said, Intend is a nonprofit based out of Indianapolis that the city partnered with and have begun construction of 92 homes over the next 5 years. They've already started the first 10 or so houses on Blaine, just north of City Cemetery. And the residential TIF will help capture the new tax revenue from those 92 homes and allow the city to put those tax revenues right back into this neighborhood itself. Here's some pictures that intend construction as ongoing. I highly encourage, if you're interested, to go down Blaine. It's really great to see so many new houses, quality designed, with affordability requirements being built in this neighborhood. So what this actual resolution would do is some of this portion of that outline I already showed you is already part of the River West commercial TIF. So some of it would be transitioning from that commercial TIF portion to the residential TIF, but then these areas in blue are currently not in the River West TIF, so those would be added completely. If they're not in the River West TIF now, they would be, if this is all approved, in the new residential version of the River West TIF. And this is what the end result would be, specifically on the right, the zoom in. So this would all be part of the River West TIF, but there would be a special set aside for this residential development area, and that's the outline in orange and red call out. So I tried to think, how is the simplest way we can explain what we're doing and why the city's trying to do this, which we think will help benefit this neighborhood. So in the very most cartoon clip art way I can, essentially you have Kennedy Lincoln Park neighborhood here on your left, but we know that there are about 50% of the lots are vacant and that hopefully they can be built on. And we know 92 of those lots will be built on in the next few years. So we know that there's going to be new construction coming to the neighborhood on those vacant lots. We know those houses will pay property taxes in the coming years once they're built. And what this does is it allows us to put those property taxes right back into the neighborhood to help benefit the residents who are there currently. We always get quite a bit of questions whenever we expand or change TIF boundaries that we try to go through, and a lot of them sim, so want to go through them now. One common question we get is, will my property taxes increase or my tax rate change because my property is now in a TIF district? That answer is no. A TIF district has no change whatsoever to the tax rate of your property. Will the city be buying my property? No, this does not mean the city wants to buy your property. In fact, the city's not even changing the acquisition list, which allows the city to purchase property in TIFs. We're not touching the acquisition list. So no, the city is not interested in buying anyone's property in the TIF. And will the permitted use of zoning change if you're in the TIF? No. TIF districts have no say whatsoever on the zoning or use of the property. So specifically, Bill number 2537 before you updates the River West Development Plan to add the residential TIF area for that Lincoln Kennedy Park neighborhood set aside. It approves the development plan specific for the residential TIF as an exhibit and as part of the overall River West Development Plan. It approves expanding that River West TIF area to include those blue sections I showed you so that it can become part of the residential TIF, and then outlines that specific area and the legal description of that area. And so what will those incremental funds be able to be used for in that neighborhood? It establishes those municipal projects. So transportation enhancements, including new curbs, new sidewalks, traffic lights, utility improvements, sewer, water, park improvements, and then also development projects. It establishes the base assessment date for when the city would be able to capture that new increment for January 1st, 2025. So it would actually be able to capture the new taxes that'll be generated on the houses in 10 started this year. And it would last for approximately the next 20 years. So that was, sorry about the length of that, but it is something we haven't done too often. So I wanted to give kind of a comprehensive overview, but I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you, Mr. Molnar. I think you did a good job. There's one question I know came up at Redevelopment Commission that was why we don't have any others, and why are we just doing this now with this one?
Yeah, so to my understanding, the state law changed in the last few years that made these a little bit easier to do. That did not exist a few years ago, so that's partially why. And also, as I said, there's very little benefit to establishing these in neighborhoods that don't have vacant lots, because even though I should have mentioned earlier, even in the area we've established, existing homes that already exist, their taxes won't go to this TIF. It's only on new construction. So if you establish this in a neighborhood that was fully built out or near fully built out, it wouldn't generate any revenue. There would be essentially no point
no benefit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I
committee-
do know one more thing. We do have Tom's from Barnes and Thornburg, and I believe we have representatives from Baker Tilly online as well, if there's any more technical
Our
questions.
legal and financial consultants are at the ready. Committee members, any questions, committee members?
I do.
Mr. Gripe?
Does this include, I saw it was in one of your last slides, the Measle Park area, the Drurys, the Martins. Is that included in this as well?
That would not, so Drury's is already, and the Portage Elwood Shopping Center, area, that's already part of the River West commercial TIF. So those would already be benefiting from the overall River West commercial TIF. But that's not part of this specific residential development area being established.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
That may be for a later day, Mr. Gripe.
Yes, thank you.
Councilmember White?
Okay, just have a question and it's probably a comment. I'm very excited to see this level of development going to the Lincoln and Kennedy Park area. And because there are a number of vacant lots, it makes it a lot easier to go in and do the development. So my question is that with the upcoming work that will come through the Kennedy Park as far as the actually pools, how is that going to fit into this total plan?
Sure. So that's already been, to my knowledge, been funded and been taken care of.
Mhm.
Obviously, if the new Dream Center is beautiful asset.
Mhm.
If Kennedy Park sees improvements, we'll want to make sure it'll drive interest in developing in Kennedy Park neighborhood. And what this really does is as there's interest and as builders want to build in that neighborhood, it allows those tax dollars to stay right there and continue to benefit the existing residents as well.
Pool would be almost like an anchor.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. It looks nice.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan?
Thank you. Just to clarify, I think you answered this earlier, but wanted to make sure that I heard it correctly. This is the first time that we're utilizing residential TIF?
To my understanding, yes, there might have been a version of this done on the very early phases of Eddy Street Commons, but that was long before my time. It's certainly the first time the city's thought of doing it in this capacity in the last 15 or so years.
Thank you.
Just want to compliment you on your explanation. Either I'm understanding better, but I get it, and this is very exciting.
Thank you.
No, I think it's right. We're going to have 90 new homes in there. These don't affect the existing homes. It catches that property gain from those 90 homes to be able to then continue to build and redevelopment. It's not too hard to read the tea leaves on this, that not only for streets and sidewalks, but more homes, right? The way the cost of housing and lumber and labor is, it's hard to build a home for under 300,000, which isn't affordable. So this is a way for us to be able to kind of capture that gain and continue to build and develop there in the neighborhood.
I should note too, it'll take a few years for the TIF to generate enough revenue to then start being able to do projects because, property taxes are paid a year in arrear. But yes, in a few years, we should hopefully have new funding.
By the time the 90 homes are done, there should be a nice pot there for continued development and not only the infrastructure, but other new houses. So, Councilmember Lee.
Yes. Thank you for your presentation. This is very exciting to see this happening over in the second district. How do we make sure, I know that you said that the current property owners will not be affected by this, but would this raise property values or and how would that affect those who currently live there?
Sure. So the only really way that this would impact anyone's property values is if, being able to have a new park next door raises your property values, or it has no direct relation to it. And even if someone's property values increases in an existing home, this TIF doesn't even capture that revenue. So there's no incentive for the city to try to, go in and increase existing home property values, because if once a home's already been established, that revenue still just goes to the general fund, even if it increases. So really the only impact on individuals' property values would be from the good projects. So from the new sidewalks, from, new street designs. And that's really the only impact, would just be trying to make the neighborhood better overall.
We'll also add that we do, so there'll be a mailing that goes out to everybody in the district. And there's a public hearing yet that'll happen before the final
Yes.
redevelopment commission meeting to all the neighbors in that district. And usually staff get a lot of phone calls and questions and things when that mailing goes out.
Yes, my phone number and email address will be on the mailing, so I'm sure I will be fielding a lot of the calls. But yes, we'll send letters to every parcel that's impacted, just to answer any questions that they might have. That letter's going out this week, with plenty of time then to answer their questions before the final public hearing before RDC in September.
Okay, seeing no other questions at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak either in person or online on bill number 2537, either in favor or against?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of the bill.
Okay, with that, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the committee. Any final questions, comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send Bill 2537 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion for a favorable and a second. Clerk Torado, can you please do the roll call?
Councilmember Gooden Rogers. Councilmember Gooden Rogers. Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Committee Vice Chair White.
Aye.
Citizen Member Konjeski. Citizen Member Gripe.
Aye.
Committee Member Gooden Rogers, could you type in the chat as we're unable to hear you? And Committee Chair Warner.
Aye. Bill 2537 will go forward with a favorable recommendation to the 7 p.m. meeting. With that, we will move on to bill number 2538, confirming resolution for tax abatement for South Bend Chippewa LLC. I will note, as always, every tax abatement requires passage of two pieces of legislation, declaratory resolution and a confirming resolution. I believe we heard this first resolution about a month ago. We skipped a meeting here, Mr. Glavich, is that correct? And so we've already heard the first resolution, so some of this will be repetitive, but Mr. Glavich, welcome.
Thank you. Eric Glavich, Director of Growth and Opportunity. Office is on the 14th floor. I'll try to be quick and answer questions you might have. I know that we're up on a schedule
We got
here.
12 minutes, sir.
Oh, I looked at the agenda. I thought we only had a few, but anyway, the declaratory resolution for this abatement was actually considered and adopted by the council on June 23rd. And typically we bring the confirming resolutions at the following meeting. In this case, we just kind of had to work through some details with the petitioner on the scope of the project. It's a very risky project that they're undertaking. This is a very old building, the old Studio Acre plant on Chippewa. There's just, it's a complicated project. And just walking through, you'll notice that you may have noticed in your packet that we put in a little provision in the MOA that the 55 jobs would be contingent upon the company's ability to actually complete the full scope of the project, which was removing the aviation test cells that were in the back of the property. Very costly venture. The project, here as I go to the next slide. is really going to be in two phases. And this is where we kind of worked back and forth with the petitioner. So phase one is kind of what you would consider to be standard rehabilitation projects, facade improvements, repairs, you know, improving the viability of the building. Phase two is really the tricky portion, which was removing a series of aviation cells in the back and taking what was or has been unusable space and making it usable. The commitments are still the same. I mean, the company is still committing millions of dollars to complete phase one. So, you know, we want them to be able to complete this project. We want them to complete phase one. And that makes this tax abatement very necessary. It's a cost prohibitive project. So this is a big incentive for them to complete the project. Just on the screen, you can see some of the numbers through our tax estimates before. Currently, the estimated annual taxes for the property are about $360,000. After investing, into this project, we're looking at an increase of about $140,000 to $150,000 in annual taxes. So through the 8-year abatement that this petitioner would qualify for, we're abating about $100,000 over an 8-year period. The remainder gets paid. So, you can see the numbers on the screen. After 10 years with this abatement based on our estimates, even with the abatement, we're still seeing an increase in property tax revenues of about $1.3 million. So I will pause there. As Chair Warner had commented, we've gone through this before. I do know that South Bend Chippewa, Matt DeVecchio is on the line and can answer any questions you might have there, and I'm happy to answer questions as well.
Thank you. To our petitioners online, anything you would like to add?
I would just pick up with what Eric put down, which is, this is Matt DeVecchio, by the way, as Eric mentioned. I'm Vice President, Senior Portfolio Manager for IRG Realty Advisors. We also have joining me is Michelle Kernan, who is the Asset Development Manager overseeing this project, as well as John Shipchak, who joined at our last meeting and is the property manager of this particular property. I think Eric ran through things that were kind of somewhat, addressed at our last meeting. I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity to provide an update. In short, this initiative preserves the historic site, creates lasting economic opportunities, and positions South Bend for growth. We appreciate your consideration of our request for this tax abatement, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the public hearing portion. Any members of the public wishing to speak on Bill 2538, either in person or online?
I do not see, excuse me, I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of this bill.
Thank you. We'll bring it back to committee members. Any final comment, question? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to send resolution 2538. Is that to the whole council? To the whole council with a favorable recommendation.
I have a motion and a second for a favorable. Thank you, Committee Councilwoman White. And with that, Clerk Tirado, can you please do a roll call?
Committee Member Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Committee Member Gooden Rogers. Committee Member Gooden Rogers, could you please cast your vote? Yes, thank you. Citizen Member Konjewski. Citizen Member Gray.
Aye.
Vice Chair White.
Aye.
Chair Warner.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. Bill 2538 will go to 7 p.m. with a favorable recommendation to the full council. And with that, actually, we didn't have 12 minutes. My math was way off. But we'll adjourn the meeting so we can go on to zoning and annexation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you good?
In the absence of our chair, council member Oliver Davis, I will be chairing today's zoning and annexation committee meeting. I'd like to call the committee to order. Clerk Torado, could you please take roll?
Councilmember White. Councilmember Warner. Citizen Member Henry Davis Jr. Citizen Member Stacy Odom.
Present.
Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Present.
Chair Dr. Davis is absent.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Our first bill is Bill 39-25. This is special exception at 1039 Lincoln Way West. This is a substitute bill, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That is correct, but it's, we discussed the substitution in a previous meeting, and it was just a clerical error.
Okay, thank you. So we don't have to accept the substitute. It's already been heard.
So
Status on this bill?
the applicant has requested be tabled,
Okay,
uh,
so until,
I believe until the next council meeting, is that correct?
which
Yes.
would be September 8th. September 8th, is that correct?
Yes.
So I would like to accept a motion that Bill 39-25 be tabled until September 8th.
So moved.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Citizen Member Stacy Odom.
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Okay, Bill 39-25 will be tabled until the next meeting, September 8th, 2025. Next bill is 40-25, special exception at 1527 South Michigan Street. Is there a petitioner?
Yes, there is. You ready? All right. Good evening, committee members. Tim Staub, zoning specialist for the city of South Bend with offices on the 14th floor. Before you is Bill number 40-25, petition for a special exception by the owners of 1527 Michigan to permit the use of vehicle service minor. This property is located in the neighborhood center district. It was, as you can tell, the site was previously home to an automobile dealership from 2007 to at least 2022. So the Board of Zoning Appeals, upon reviewing the staff recommendation and the context of the application, determined that as the building site was developed with an automobile use in mind, a special exception is warranted. The building on site was at one point used for vehicle service, and this would be the reactivation of vacant space. So the Board of Zoning Appeals sends the petition to Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Is the petitioner present and would they like to add anything to the presentation? Good evening.
Good
Please state
evening.
your name and address.
David Soleil, 2617 Gray Street, South of Bend.
Good evening, Faris Farhan, 1828 T Rose Lane.
Thank you.
Do have a presentation. I can pull it up really fast. Perfect. Once again, good evening. Just really briefly wanting to go over the special exemption zoning request for the property at 1527 Michigan Street. No need to get all into the details, but I want to just do a brief overview. We have given this presentation to a small group of council members before, and we met with them, and we had implemented a plan of action since our last meeting with the council. So just to quickly update that. So the property overview, it's on 1527 Michigan Street. It's been an auto shop since the 1970s. Just to add that we have improved the shop since we've obtained the shop. I'm the property manager for the property, and I'm standing here alongside the property owner. And implementing into the property, we have put in a $30,000 rubber roof, as well as new exterior doors. And once again, these just were just to maintain safety, compliance standards with the city, as well as just to enhance the property as well. Once again, we just want to maintain this property to be utilized for a minor auto shop for services, including oil changes, basic repairs, and diagnostics for passenger vehicles. However, since our last meeting, we have implemented that preference will be given to business owners that plan to offer services such as window tinting or a tire shop. That's to kind of move away from the industry side of the shop into more of a clean, eco-friendly service that can benefit the community as well, and that is based on community feedback. The goals for this was to limit hazardous materials, as we will not be storing any hazardous materials or waste from this. And just to be very convenient towards the community when we do try and open the business up. If we were granted the special exemption, we would want to keep it from around 8 to 6 just to limit noise and just to maintain accessibility to everyone in that community. And just a quote from the business owner, just to really enforce and kind of emphasize that the commitment is to sustainability and compliance that will basically ensure that this will benefit local residents, but also contribute positively to the environment and community standards. So that was a very key thing that we wanted to implement. And another quick update is the community impact and support. So we have led an informal outreach effort, which has led to strong neighborhood support for the auto shop proposal. We have over 25 supporting residential neighbors, as well as 8 commercial nearby businesses in favor of the special exemption. And just to maintain the active auto shop history. And then also to create job opportunities for people within the neighborhood. There's a lot of people that commute by walking or biking, and job opportunities for them may be limited in that aspect. So having this business will create those jobs for people to grow their skills in that auto mechanic industry, as well as in the car detailing, car services. So that's something that will look to be a positive for enhancing that economic around our city and around that community. And then another update since our last time meeting is that we have even more community support and buy-in. So we have met with the local SOAR Association, and we presented our request to the SOAR Association, and we were able to earn every present member's support by addressing questions, addressing the concerns that they had, and while also giving them an opportunity for feedback. As you can see in the 2 images, in Appendix 1, we have the actual sheet with the signatures, and we have a physical copy here today. And then we have a letter of support from the SOAR Association president, the figure on the right side, Appendix 2. Just saying that we are proud to have received that support from President Hodges. Her endorsement affirms that our initiative aligns with the values and vision of the local community. So we have really kind of went and tried to get that buy-in directly from those community leaders on that side of the city. And I think that we did that. And that's giving a quick thanks to Councilwoman McBride, because she set up a lot of those facilitation, those discussions for us to have that community impact and for us to have that buy-in. So we have worked with her over the past couple weeks just to get that buy-in from the community and just to maintain the transparency between us and that side of the neighborhood that would be directly impacted with us getting this special exemption. We've also applied for the facade grant. Just another thing that we've tried to do to enhance the property itself is applying for that grant. That was through efforts with Councilwoman McBride as well. If awarded, the grant funds will be used to repaint the building exterior, replace siding of the building, and to install new signage for improved visibility, as well as enhancing exterior lighting for safety and curb appeal as well. So for people passing by, it's something that is visually appealing and something that people will look forward to stopping by as well. And so just some pictures of the property. These are some pictures from the outside as well as the inside. As you can see, it's been cleaned, it's been well maintained. It's not caving in. It's really ready to go in terms of being ran as a business. So we just kind of wanted to showcase this just to show that we are serious about this. We are wanting to do something very positive in the community, and we've done that by maintaining that. And just to kind of compare with other properties in the neighborhood. These are some other properties on that same street in Michigan Street. Some more or less haven't kept up their standards of maintaining the properties, where more they're just empty lots, vacant empty lots, while we're trying to maintain an active status with our property by getting this special exemption. And then finally, recent improvements. Just wanted to show what we've done in the last month. So removing overgrown trees and dense brush to open up the space and improve visibility. This really was behind the building as well as the side of the building. There was a lot of overgrown trees and bushes, and we really cleared that out just to kind of make the property more appealing visibly. And then there was a lot of debris and discarded items from the backyard that was just left there from previous owners. And so we took the time and we really cleaned the back of the lot out just to make sure if anybody was to go back there, there was nothing that could harm anybody. There used to be like old scrap parts, and we got rid of those parts. So now it's cleared out, and then just regularly maintaining the grass and parking lot to ensure a clean, safe, and welcoming environment. You know, in the previous picture, you might have seen some overgrown grass in the parking lot or some cars that looked abandoned in the parking lot. We've gotten rid of those, and we've taken care of those things just to address some things that we had from our last meeting. And so that was the presentation. Just wanted to give a quick highlight of what we've done and hopefully be able to get some support.
Thank you very much for that. I'd like to turn to committee members for any questions. Any members? Okay. I do have a question. Could you just reiterate again, this came out of your meetings, the adjustment that you were suggesting from more repair to describe the services that came out of your discussion?
Yes. So once again, what we primarily were wanting to do was a minor auto service shop, and that's kind of what the goal is. However, when we've had discussions with the SOAR Association and when we had discussions with Councilwoman McBride, one thing that was recommended is, hey, if we could try and get something that's different, that stands apart from other businesses, that would be our main priority. And I have the owner of the property with me, and that's something that we're here to tell you that we're committed to that. We're committed to getting something that's different, that's more eco-friendly, such as services like tire changing and such as tinting instead of the more traditional auto service shop.
Okay. And maybe this is a question to staff, but when something like this is discussed, is it, this is the preference and the goal? Is that how I understand it? Is it a written commitment?
How do you mean the just?
I mean, this is the preference. I mean, this is what we hope, the owners hope to utilize the property for.
I mean, it could be, I mean, the bigger thing though is with the special exception, they do have to bring it up to specific standards. So that means additional landscaping, streetscape trees. It's in towards the back of the code that will kind of discuss what's needed, but it does result in at least a physical improvement. In terms of specific uses, it's just, we just treat it as vehicle service minor. So, but it could either be something written or it could be a legitimate understanding, just to make sure that it moves forward. So.
Okay, thanks. I guess that's something that the committee or the council may wish to further consider as being a gentleman's agreement, so to say, or if it's something that we want to see as a written commitment. Are there any other questions?
I just have a
Councilwoman
comment when
White,
you get to
yeah.
the comment stage.
Sure. Why don't we go, is there,
Hearing.
yeah,
Okay.
let's go to public hearing. Clerk Torado, is there anyone online with any questions or wishing to speak in favor or in opposition?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition of the bill.
Okay. Thank you. I'll come back to committee members and council members for any final questions or comments. Councilwoman White?
I just wanted to say at our last council meeting, this bill was tabled as requested by the petitioner. At that time, the chair of the zoning and annexation committee, along with the third district representative, had indicated that they would meet with the petitioners. That meeting did, it was held, it was a good conversation, the concern about community engagement. So there were a number of areas that was discussed during that meeting. There was no commitments made whatsoever. There was just suggestions. One, and as most of you are aware, anytime that there could be a bill or any type of action that would impact the neighborhoods or the neighbors, we always ask the question, have you talked with your neighbors? And that had not occurred. So I really want to really thank the petitioners for meeting with all of the various neighbors, but also the neighborhood associations, and listen, and then come back and present the presentation that you've done. So thank you.
Any other committee members? Questions? Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I also want to echo that because this is the entryway into the 5th district and we want it to look pretty. And I see that you put effort and I really appreciate that you spoke to the neighborhood. We were cleaning up a little close to that area yesterday. And when you clean up your property, I think it's a little less likely for someone to just dump there. And so you will set a standard. So we look for you to forward to you setting a standard for the other businesses. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the Bill 4025, which is a special exception at 1527 South Michigan, would move forward with a favorable recommendation to the committee of the whole.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
It's been moved and has a second. Clerk Torado?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Citizen Member Stacy Odom,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Bill 40-25 goes to the committee of the whole with a favorable recommendation. Thank you, gentlemen. We will now turn to Bill number 46-25, amending the zoning ordinance for property located at 1432 South Bend Avenue.
Yes, excuse me. Thank you, committee members. Mark Delasrito, zoning specialist with the city of South Bend with offices on the 14th floor. And as was just stated, this is bill number 46-25 for rezoning by the owner of 1432 South Bend Avenue to change the zoning of this property and the adjacent vacant lot from Urban Flex UF and Suburban Neighborhood 1 S1 to Urban Neighborhood 3 or U3. So going back to at least 2007, there was what appeared to be a single-family home on this property for a number of years, although it was owned by two independent educational organizations from 1994 to 2022, suggesting that the home's use may not have been purely residential. That home was demolished sometime between 2022 and 2025, and now the petitioner is proposing a new residential development that would span both parcels, shown here. Because of this, it makes sense to bring both parcels under the same zoning designation. And here's a proposed rendering of the building looking northeast from South Bend Avenue. Rezoning to U3 and allowing for higher density housing would help further objective H1 from the city's comprehensive plan, which calls upon the city to ensure that an adequate supply of housing is available in the city, as well as strategy 3 from the 2022 Northeast Neighborhood Plan, which outlines a desire to develop and preserve housing in the neighborhood. Additionally, this rezoning would align with the future zoning map in the Northeast Neighborhood Plan, which calls for both parcels to be rezoned to U3, as is being put forth by this petition. The Plan Commission sent this petition to Common Council with a favorable recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. And the petitioners present, do you have anything to add?
Thank you. Mike Dange from Dange Harnan and Associates, 1643 Commerce Drive here in South Bend, representing the petitioner. And the staff did a great job of explaining exactly what the project is. And what we would like to do is basically build a 5-story building on this particular one. It would be a condominium development. There would be 30 condos that would be put in the building. As the staff had mentioned, we had also received 2 variances for this particular project. One of the variants was for the height of the building. The height of the building would be a maximum of 5 stories. And the way you look at this particular rendering of the building, you can't even see the 5th floor. The way they had done it is on the 5th floor, they had actually set it back from the main facades of the building. So it only took up a portion of that site. That would be a gathering area for the condo residents. And it gives them obviously a nice view of the University of Notre Dame. The site itself is about 0.62 acres, and it's right on the corner of Garland Street and South Bend Avenue. And what we are actually doing is, the staff had kind of mentioned, we're downzoning a portion of this property that is basically an urban flex to the U3, the urban 3, which actually reduces some of the uses that would be allowed in that particular area. For this location, going to the U3 also works with the comprehensive plan for the NNZO. That's what they had envisioned this particular corner to be for the site. Access would be off of Garland Street. The way we had done it is we set the building toward the front for the streetscape portion of the site. The back portion of the site would have 39 parking spaces. Based on, there's the site preliminary site plan. And also what we would end up doing is providing screening. When you go through to the U3 and you have a parking area the way that we're showing that, under the zoning category, we're also required to do additional types of landscaping. There is a landscape fence and landscaping toward the neighbor's side of the property. What we had done as part of the approval process, we actually had done a Zoom meeting. We had sent out notice to the owners within 300 feet of the project site so that they could ask any questions. At that particular Zoom meeting, there was just one resident that had responded to the Zoom meeting. It was Mr. Robert Bell. He couldn't get into the Zoom meeting. I believe he had heard the petition. At the Plan Commission meeting, his wife was at the Plan Commission meeting, and I had spoke with her after the Plan Commission meeting, had given her a copy of the site plan and explained what the project was. Their property, they have a rental that is directly to the south of this particular site. So they had questions about the screening and landscaping that would happen on this, and also whether this would be a condo development. So it's single family. These are ownerships. These are not rentals that would happen as part of the project. One of the variants that we had received from the Plan Commission was the size of the building. Under the guidance for the zoning, the way when you do a building like this, you're limited to the length of the facade. And right now, the city ordinance only allows 120-foot length for a building facade for the wall. We were able to get a variance to 127 feet. Not a huge difference, but because of the way we had set it on the site, we basically broke up the mass of the building by having a portion of it toward South Bend Avenue and the other portion toward Garland Street. Any kind of lighting for this type of project has to meet all the city codes, which means you have to use full shielded lighting and so that there isn't any light spillage onto any adjacent properties. And obviously, we will meet all the drainage standards for the city departments. This obviously will be hooked up to water and sewer. There was one concern for one of the residents that had lived on Garland Street, whether there might be a problem with the sanitary sewers because that particular portion of the city of South Bend is an older area, so those sewers are older. We're actually tying into the main that runs along South Bend Avenue, which is a newer main, and that would not have any impact on the sewer and water that run down Garland Street. And I'm sure you're probably familiar, the city's in the process of basically taking and separating the sanitary and the stormwater, and they're working their way through different neighborhoods. So this type of project, because we're going to go into the main on South Bend Avenue, would not impact them and would not have any troubles with their basements or for the stormwater or any kind of sewage backup as well. And if you've got any questions for me, I'd be glad to. Oh, and let me, one other thing that we also did, I had sent information over to Marco Mariani over at the NNZO. I had sent an entire petition to them so that they could also see this particular project. There wasn't a concern that I was aware of, so that unless you've heard something, I didn't hear anything back from Marco with any type of questions for that. So I think we were meeting all the intent of the NNZO requirements as well. And if you've got any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much. I'll turn to committee members if you have any questions. Okay, I do have a couple questions just briefly. The to staff, could you just update us? Most of the buildings along South Bend Avenue are 4-story. Although the height of the 4th story seems to be higher in some buildings, maybe dormers or, just extended ceiling heights or something. Is this the first building that is actually moving into 5 stories?
So it's a bit confusing. There's kind of 2 separate height requirements that we have. There's one that's just pure footage. So in U3, you can go up to 55 feet. This development would be at 55 feet, so it meets that requirement with no variance needed. Then there's also the story requirement. So in this case, it needed the max number of stories is 4 feet. This is going to 5 feet for the community space on top of the building. But there has been the same variance granted for the building, the new proposed building at the current Parisi's restaurant site. The same variances was granted there, as well as for the formerly Sideline Flats, I believe Varsity View now. So this same variance has been given twice in the past for similar buildings, all within a couple 100 feet of each other. So, yeah, so compliant with one of the height requirements needed a variance for the other, but still felt it was meeting the intent of the ordinance because, again, there is a structure on that 5th floor that you can't really see from the street. It's been set back to kind of minimize any disruptions to the nearby properties. But yeah, so there is some precedent for this.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And for the reminder of the other properties.
Yes, of course.
One of those is the new one being built right now, right? On the corner of, I'm trying to think.
It's right next to the linebacker lounge. I believe there was a bit of a pause in construction. I think there might have
Yeah.
been some change in ownership, but I believe it's, getting going again now.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I did have a question about that.
Yeah.
So, answered that. Great. Let's go to the public portion of the committee meeting. Clerk Torado, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak for or against?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of the bill.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll turn back to committee members. Are there any final questions or comments that you'd like to make? Okay. I do just want to share that I did receive communication from the president of the NNRO. So at this time, they have no opposition to this project. And with that, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Make a motion to send the 4825 forward with a favorable recommendation.
4625, Councilman?
4625, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved in second and has a second. Clerk Toronto?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Citizen Member Stacy Odom,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Bill 46-25 goes to the Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation. Thank you. We'll see you this evening. And then final bill for this evening is 47-25. Special exception and amending the zoning ordinance for property located at 431 Dundee Street.
Yes, Mark Del Cerrito, zoning specialist with the city of South Bend with offices on the 14th floor. The petitioner has requested for this bill to be tabled as well.
And so this will be tabled until September 22nd. Is that what I understand? It will be
correct.
heard in Plan Commission again on September 22nd, and then it'll come back to council on September 25th. Okay.
Correct.
So do I have a motion to table the bill until September 25th?
I'll move.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Clerk Toronto?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Citizen Member Stacy Odom,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
4 ayes.
I just want to pause for a moment before I adjourn. I just want to make sure that we got the dates correct.
I believe just clarifying that the meeting would be on the 22nd.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, the council meeting that this would be going to.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We need to do that over. We need to do that over. Or can we just note
No,
the
it's
change in
fine.
date?
It's
September
tabled till
22nd.
September 22nd.
Okay. Thank you. With that, this meeting is adjourned.
Informal meeting, we have our invocation for Dr. Eli Williams from First Unitarian Church. We have a pledge, roll call, reports from the subcommittees on minutes of August 11th. Special business, we have a special resolution recognizing the positive results of partnership between the South Bend Department of Venues, Parks and Arts and Logan Center. We'll have no reports from city offices. 3925 has been tabled. 40-25 favorable, 4625 favorable, 47-25 tabled into 922, 4825 favorable. Then we'll do bills on third reading. Resolutions, we have 2. And then we'll do bills on first reading, 4925 and 5025, 5125, 5225, and 53. Unfinished business, new business, privilege of the floor and adjournment. Thank you, and we'll see everybody at 7 o'clock. Thank you.